Thank you, Chairwoman Fox and Ranking Member Scott and your staff and all of you that are giving testimony for us today. And I'd like to say to my Republican colleagues, if you truly want to unleash America's opportunities for hiring and employment, the solution is not to villainize and victimize our unions and our working people, because oftentimes, their only real voice is in the workplace. The real solution to this problem is empowering and investing in our workers and our workforce development system. And I look forward to doing that very thing with my Republican colleagues at the earliest point that we're able to find that we have an opportunity to do so. However, the solutions that are being touted by Republicans today will do nothing more than to solve the major issues that are facing our employers. They'll do nothing to reverse the decades-long trend of declining public investment in our workforce development programs and initiatives across the country. Instead, they will only do more to tip the scale even further against working families and everyday Americans who are punching the clock just to get by. And since it was signed into law in 2014, the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, or WIOA, has assisted millions of Americans workers in learning more about obtaining the skills and training required to succeed in today's economy. While this was an important bipartisan step in the right direction, WIOA has unfortunately never been fully funded and able to live up to its full potential to serve the American public. In fact, the federal government spends significantly far less today on workforce development programs than it did over 20 years ago in 2001. So it's vitally important that we reauthorize WIOA and ensure that this program gets the secured funding necessary to fulfill its intended purpose. And my bill, the Train for a Better America Act, which was included in the WIOA Act of 2022 that passed the House last Congress, would assist community colleges and technical training schools in connecting recent and upcoming graduates with local employers in high-demand fields by codifying the Department of Labor's Strengthening Community Colleges Training Grant Program. It would take real, tangible steps to fix our workforce pipeline and make it easier on companies that are looking for talent and on workers that are seeking to better themselves through hard work and education. So instead of playing politics and sending messaging bills to die with the Senate, we can expand upon these programs and efforts like this. Programs that are already on the ground and proven to help fill the very real workforce shortages in areas like construction, which we're talking about today, and nursing that we all hear about when we meet our constituents back in our districts. I talk to people in my district all the time that talk about all of the really difficult ways that they're being able to find work, or when they take the time away from their families to fly up here and to sit in these hearings and to tell us the same stories. So, Mr. Spear, as I mentioned in my remarks, we've seen a decline in investment in our country's workforce programs for decades. Because of these funding shortfalls, many local workforce boards are forced to cap the funding mechanisms that they use to train workers, and this is also the ITAs. So should Congress expand funding the ITAs to help cover the full cost of these training programs?
I think there's a role to play as you consider reauthorization to really have better alignment and cohesion between the federal, state, and the local workforce boards to identifying those pockets of need, where those dollars are going. They're valuable dollars, and they need to be going to employment sectors that are going to not only support that local economy, but state and national economies. So I think the alignment and cohesion between federal, state, and local boards is absolutely essential. Channeling that money as wisely as you can down and making certain it gets to people that not only get a job, but a job that's going to contribute to the economy going forward is really, in my view, the essence of WIOA.
And so the ITAs are only worth about $2,000. Is that sufficient? Is that enough money to enhance training for workforce development?
We have everything that could cover. A lot of our training does take more than just that amount. I do think we have a lot of employers that want to support covering the costs of employees that, get their CDL, get that training. I think there is prioritization at the workforce boards of truck drivers, for instance, the skills they're going to need, designating them as essential, skilled, in demand, and reimbursing them for the costs that it takes to get those CDLs. Those costs have gone up, and I think the bill needs to reflect that.
Thank you. My time is up. I yield back the balance.